Our third PMP Hall of Fame Class of 2019 inductee is Dr. Dini Miller. She's an associate professor at Virginia Tech University and the urban pest management specialist for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Dr. Miller's breakthrough research on cockroaches, bedbugs, and other structural pests is world-renowned. And let's take a moment now to recap the route that she has taken to get to where she is today.
Born and raised in California, Dr. Dini Miller didn't take the conventional path to her current post as an extension specialist and professor at Virginia Tech. But she has spent her career learning and teaching along the way. As she says, "Throughout my life, doors open, and I walk through them. And it's turned out 5 billion times better than I could have predicted." Dr. Miller wasn't expecting to attend college after high school, but she found herself intrigued when she attended a community college class with a friend. Over a 7-year period, she waitressed or worked in retail during the day, then took general education courses in the evenings. By age 25, Dr. Miller began attending the University of California, Los Angeles, as a geography ecosystems major. But biology classes sparked her interest, and she focused on tenebriodid beetles, a casual conversation seeking positive identification from the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County led to Dr. Miller being a volunteer. It was there that she met then insect zoo director Dr. Art Evans. He gave Dr. Miller her first insect net and insect collection. Another twist of fate occurred when she applied for graduate school to study staphylinid beetles in cow dung piles with University of Florida professor Dr. Howard Frank. But he was unable to add her to his program, so she had her application circulated around the department. She then received a strange call from a man who told her she could join his cockroach program, and, oh, by the way, they were visiting a sewage treatment plant that night, letting the cockroaches crawl all over them, and collecting 8 pounds of cockroaches every night. Dr. Miller still laughs about that phone call from fellow PMP Hall of Famer Dr. Phil Kaler, class of 2015, when he said those magic words, "If you switch from beetles to cockroaches, I'll fund you all the way through the PhD." She replied, "Okay, cockroaches it is." Dr. Miller says from that day to this, it was the single best decision she ever made. Dr. Miller credits Dr. Kaler for leading by example, from public speaking to getting real-world pest control experience for more useful research. She has worked with termites and bedbugs, but today her focus is back to German cockroaches. She is spreading her gospel throughout the industry that instead of integrated pest management, which stems from agriculture and assumes there's a pest threshold with which the account is comfortable, we should be using assessment-based pest management, which focuses on seeing how big the pest population is and performing regular treatments and follow-ups until the count goes to 0. Dr. Miller says that if you count the cockroaches, bait in the right places, and keep at it, you can get complete elimination. Adding, "We should be the heroes who can save the day, no matter what."
First of all, I want to thank everybody here. This is an amazing honor to me, and if you had known the person I was when I was 20 years old, you would be just as stunned as I am that I'm standing up here. My growing up life was really kind of bizarre, and the fact that I ended up going to college, I have to thank my girlfriend Therese, who's here with me tonight. I remember standing in her bedroom where she was telling me that education is the thing they can't take away from you and how important it was. And that was a heavy, influential statement that I have carried with me ever since. And the trajectory that I was on, and again, it's weird to think when you're 56 years old that your life is now centered around bedbugs. That wasn't exactly what I had planned when I was 24, okay, as you might imagine. But When I got out of high school, actually I was kicked out of the house by my mother's 19-year-old boyfriend, and went and lived with a girlfriend and her family and went to work full-time. So I worked full-time for about 7 years and went to community college at night, kind of based on Teresa's influence on how important education was. And then in the course of that, I ended up moving back home with my mother at one point, and I got in the mail a program from UCLA, one of their programs. And Edwina, who is here with me tonight, my stepmother, had actually sent that to me, and it was full of sticky notes on how I should apply. And I didn't want to let her down and look bad by not applying, so I did that and got accepted into UCLA, and that just changed my life. I had no idea. And some of those pictures of me holding snakes and holding lizards, that was all at UCLA. And then when I got to UCLA, because I had been working in that other world all that time, I went up to Powell Library the third day I was there and kissed it on the brick. And I said, I am never leaving academia, okay? And that has sort of turned out to be the case. So when I graduated from UCLA, because of a weird chain of events, I started looking into entomology. And it just so happened I had some beetles identified for a biology class by Dr. Charles Hogue, who had written the book on how to identify basically the beetles of California. And he worked at the Los Angeles Museum of Natural History. And I had asked him, can I come and intern for you? I don't know anything about bugs. And he said, why don't you go and volunteer at the Ralph M. Parsons Insect Museum that we have in Los Angeles. And I ended up meeting Dr. Art Evans there. And that was mentioned in here, that he was the first one that gave me my first boar, triple horn, and DeLong textbook, and also my first insect net, and my first insect collection. And then I graduated from UCLA, and I had another graduate student out of the blue magically appear and help me apply for entomology programs throughout the United States. I didn't know at all what I was doing, but this guy helped me out. And again, I'm applying to University of Florida because they have the biggest entomology program in the US, and this gentleman is helping me with that. And that's when I got the call from Dr. Philip Kaler. Now, Dr. Kaler couldn't be here tonight because his flight doesn't get in until 7 o'clock, and I don't know if he's going to party with us at the Pi Chi Omega thing or not. I hope he shows up. But I ended up owing that man kind of everything. Oh, and one thing I don't want to leave out, I had to drive, when I went to the University of Florida, I had to drive from Los Angeles to Florida in my 1972 Datsun station wagon, mustard yellow. And my friend Bill Fisher from high school flew out to California from Miami and made that drive with me. And the car started overheating almost before we were out of Los Angeles, so we had no air conditioning, no anything. And we're driving on the Freeway 10 all the way to Florida. And it was August, and it was really hot. And I remember when we stopped at one of these places in the middle of Texas, it takes you forever you can get to Texas in one day from Southern California, but you can't get out of Texas in one day. And we'd almost gotten to the end of Texas, and we had stopped at some place, and some crazy man who owned the store where we were buying something to drink or something, we asked him, we were like, is there anything between here and the end of the state? And he laughs and he says, there ain't nothing between here and the end of the state. So it was a very enjoyable drive. I believe Bill cleaned the inside of my car even as we were driving along. So we got to the University of Florida. He continued on to Miami, and I went to a Pizza Hut. And at the Pizza Hut, somebody put money into the jukebox, and it started playing Achy Breaky Heart. And I'm like, what have I done? So I want to say, I'm a native of San Diego, so this is very fortuitous that this meeting actually is taking place here, and I can have my high school friends and the members of my family and everything show up for this. But got to the University of Florida, and I have to say that Dr. Phil Kaler was the greatest single influence on my life from then until now. And also, I'm glad to say that Brittany Pooh, okay, who works for MPMA, Brittany Pooh, formerly known, or I'm sorry, Dr. Brittany Campbell, always Brittany Pooh to me, was one of my graduate students who also got to work with Dr. Phil Kaler, and you know what a wonderful man that he is, so it's just amazing. So I also have somebody else to thank that's in the audience with me tonight, and this is my Uncle Bob, who after my father passed away, and it's his birthday today, Bob and my stepmother Edwina got together as a couple, and I am so grateful to you, and here's exactly why. What if Edwina had moved on and not been a part of our family anymore? That would have been heartbreaking for me. And I have to say that Edwina is one of the most important people in my life, so I'm really grateful the way that things have worked out. And I kind of even feel like the universe has sort of come together, even with the fact that this meeting tonight is taking place here in San Diego, and I can have all the people that mean something to me at this meeting. And so after I got done at the University of Florida, I was hired immediately. I got married and got my PhD and got hired at Virginia Tech all in the same 3 days. And I thought that would be the busiest period of my life. Not even close. Not even close. You should have seen me last week, you know? And I have to thank my ex-husband, who is also still today one of my best friends. He was my lab technician for 10 years at Virginia Tech, and we fed the bedbug colonies on him for 8. I owe that man a lot. And he and I are still very good friends. So I've had these wonderful people be in my life. And right now, by the way, I want to mention I'm not an associate professor, I'm a full professor, and I actually got promoted, so thank goodness. And I just want to say my time at Virginia Tech has just been absolutely fantastic. If you'd have told me in 2004 that bedbugs were going to take over the earth the way that they have, I would have told you that that was ridiculous. But I'd say that's been every minute of every day now. And between bedbugs and cockroaches, I'm so grateful for the bedbug. I was in Korea last week with Chris and Dominique, a week and a half ago, I guess. And those bedbugs have gotten me all over the earth. They're one of the best things that ever happened to me. You know, nobody else seems to feel that way. But I feel like it has been one fortunate occurrence after another. Like the universe has just worked to make everything to come together and come together beautifully. And one of the things that I feel about this industry going forward is I think we need to work on getting ourselves recognized as professionals. And I was listening to what Judy was saying. I'm with you. We should talk. I'm working on that, and one of the reasons I'm so into this assessment-based pest management is because assessment is the base of integrated pest management, but it seems to be lost on our industry. And we have some methodologies now for getting rid of cockroaches out of public housing without having the residents do anything, and I'm talking about that all over the place. And one of the things I want to see is as we have the younger generation coming into our industry and becoming owners and operators, I think we can go to great lengths to improve what we've already got here. I think we can even get better. And one of my friends, Matt Hamblin here, who owns Smart Pest Solutions in Arizona, I see is one of the future leaders in our industry also. Young, energetic, lots of ideas. And I can see that we will have more and more people like that coming along. I'm now kind of the older generation, but I love the idea of having young, energetic people coming in and changing our industry for the better. And so I really want to thank you for letting me stand up here and talk about that, and also for the induction into the Hall of Fame. I could have never predicted that this is the way my life turned out. And when I say, and it's even written in here, billions of times better than I could have ever hoped or dreamed. So I want you all to know I'm grateful to all of you. I love this industry, and my life's turned out so much better than I could have ever predicted. And I have to say it's because of all of you and all of you. So thank you so much.